time and your great efforts to join us. Today, I'm going to focus on the essential of exercise of practical life and sensorial. Just a quick review to understand to know who is Maria Montessori and to know some of her philosophy. She was born in 1870 until 1952, the same birthday as our Malaysia Day, founded by Maria Montessori. And till now is 115 years of the history. She built the Casa di Bambini in Italy. And then just like what you view from just now, the video clip, the history of Tadigasri Puncak, this is the 31st year, and then Green Meadows is already established for 8 years. So the parents who didn't view just now the clips, I can send the link to you if you want to. Well, the Montessori philosophy, the fundamentals to Montessori approach is a great respect for all the children as an individual to help their personalities towards the independence and awareness of his real positions. So the path is to aim, it's gone through to provide a supportive yet challenging environment, rich in experiences, and mindful of the child's capacities and needs. The core value of Montessori principle is respect for the child, but respect doesn't mean that we need to follow them all the time. Certain guidance still needed when they want to follow the path that we coach them accordingly. The sensitive periods for learning. So all parents that view our school environment before, we have our 5 areas of Montessori area: practical life, sensorial, languages, mathematics, and culture. And then today we only focus on 2. A prepared environment. What is the prepared environment? Everything prepared by the teachers to suit to their students' needs. And the independency and discovery. We prepare and let them discover by themselves. So the outcome from the Montessori school. Well, it is an academic prepared. Some of the parents were very worried, like this kind of freedom of choices. How can we prepare them for the academic preparation? Once they go through all areas, what I observe, the students are all the students are capable to meet the needs, and then meeting the mainstream's primary standards. They are able to do write, read, and count when they are going to turn 7. Instinctive of motivation, internalized ground rules, and ability to work with the external authorities. So, well, the freedom has been given, but the freedom with limitation lead them to understand. So they understand the ground rules and then they will follow exactly. The social responsibility, because in our classroom contain 3 to 6 years old, some of the elder students will know that this is their responsibility to taking care of the youngest. Autonomy and confidence and competent. They know how to perfect themselves. The creativity and originality of thoughts. They love to share around. The spiritual awareness of these are some of the outcome of the Montessori school. Okay, the Montessori school characteristics is inherent flexibility. Follow the child leads. Teachers adapt personalized learning plans for each and every student to cater for their learning styles, interests, and abilities levels. So each and every student have their personalized plan for them. The classroom community consists of 3 to 6 years old, which means the older students act as a teachers and mentor for the young one. foster support, love, and care for the community. A story is that some of our graduate students, when they turn 6, they will authorize some of the 5 and 4 years old, remind them they have to take care, they have to replace them to take care of the youngest in the classroom. So this is the traditional way for the elders to pass the responsibility to the 5 years old to continue their service in the classroom. Another characteristic is the child-sized environment, foster sense of independency, of self-confidence. The nature based on the along with the playground, children also go outside several times to work directly with nature. They observe the watering the plants, they go and play all the equipment outside, the balancing and the monkey bar as well. So this early curriculums, including of practical life, sensorial, mathematics, languages, and culture. Maybe parents will feel a little bit bored. I'm not a teacher. Why should I know? I mean, towards we are working together to lead the students to a brighter future. So we are the core partner. We need to work together. So bear in mind and a little bit patient to know some of the essential or the education behind to serve this. We call it scientifically proof apparatus to guide them along the way. Well, the practical life, to help the children to develop sense of order, concentrations, independence, to look after, to care of their own self, care of the environment, control of the movement, and inclusive grace and courtesy. Sensorial is to help your child to refine the 5 senses: tactile, visual, auditory, olfactory, and gustatory. Children learn to isolate quantity, control of error as a prepared for their future learning. For your information, a child, actually they can grow up to 90% of adult brain when they turn 6. So it's very crucial to sharpen their sensorial perception. And maths makes easy when children are exposed to practical life and sensorial activity, as they are indirectly introduced to abstracts and mathematical concepts. So for the mathematics and languages, we will share with you next month, and accordingly, today is only a focus on others. The language is also the same. Letters are introduced by phonic sounds rather than the letter names. Letters are introduced in an order that enable your child to freely make many words with the learning letters. We develop a local appropriate methodology to teach your child our national language, Malay and Mandarin. Culture is to help a child to know about geography, history, general science, botany, geology, music, and art. Don't underestimate that. They can really explore a lot and then share with you unexpectedly. So you can bring up your child the Montessori way at home too. I think we locked down for almost 2 years with the majority of the parents' help. I can really see and observe that how to apply the Montessori at home is it is possible. So try to involve them in daily activities. Be patient to guide them to self-care and care of others. Serve them, serve you and the elderly at home. And you are already halfway bringing out the best in them. They are able to do and involve and participate a lot of the activity at home. It is not a rocket science, but just apply it at home daily. So Montessori environment is a prepared environment. This is a Maria Montessori concept that the environment can be designed to facilitate the maximum of independence, learning, and exploring by the child. In this prepared environment, there is a variety of activity as well as a great deal of the movement. A Montessori teachers serve as a prepared and communicator of the environment to the child, and it is responsible of maintaining the atmosphere and order of the prepared environment. The prepared environment gives every child the freedom to fully develop their unique potential through developmental appropriate sensorial materials. The material range it from the simple to complex, from the concrete to abstracts, catering towards every child's age and ability. So each and every shelf here, from the left to right, from up to down, actually we have the sequence to guide them along the way. So this, just to show you, this is the Montessori Practical Life curriculum. The activities given an understanding of their environments and how it works, how to fry eggs, how to clean up the area, how to throw the things according to the recycle bins, and the general waste. So here we go. The link of From M School. If you are able to display it at your home, but it's not that complicated. This is a school setup from left to right, from up to down, from simple to complicated. In the classroom, with child-sized tools that really work to young child is able to perform the same activities they has been seen like adult to do pouring, sweeping, ironing, polishing, and scrubbing. So the pace is unhurried. So when they do, observe them, get connection, and an adult nearby to help them if required, but not to interfere. If they want to put on their shoes, put on their socks, they take their own pace. We just like an observer to step back and observe. If they require the help, then we offer. If they're not, just observe. Be a little bit patient. And then if you calm enough to count the time, actually it is like less than 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, no matter how, it really works. And the purpose of the Practical Life curriculum is to the concentration span, coordinations, independence, and order, which lay the foundation of learning. This is the Practical Life curriculum in the Montessori, is to improve all these basic skills. Why? For example, the pouring activities. They do the simple pouring, just like you can offer at home. They pour the water, they pour the milk, and they pour whatever grains or rice. So the concentration skill will focus intently on the task at hand. Developing this concentration skill, so they are necessary to observe the words around them and to focus on later learning. Can you imagine if they can concentrate well? Whatever lessons, it will really build them a very good foundation. The coordination, exercise those finger muscles and develop fine motor skill. And elements of control is necessary in coordination, the coordination skill. Control also encompasses the abilities to manage the amount of focus use and the control of the muscle. So how to fostering the independence. The young child's main goal in life is to develop their independence. They learn how to be independent. And the order is the tendency of child and human. We love order, to put back things to the original place, just like some of the habits that's been built. But here we try to rectify whatever bad habits, but order is the tendency of humans. Practical life exercises are set up in the different order. A favorite Montessori saying is this the process and it is important, but not the product. Enjoy the process when they are learning, when they observe them, they washing with the dish, and then before you judge them, observe them, observe the child closely. Practical life curriculums, we have 5 of the activities: preliminary and development activities, activities of social behavior, care of self, care of the environment, movement, some of the movement developments. Like for example, even at home, you can practice the silence games with them. Calm down, listen to whatever nature. So let us like introduce one by one. What is preliminary and development activity? Like folding mats, layout mats, tables and chair, how to carry accordingly, how to tuck in and tuck out, the glasses and jug, pouring accordingly with different sizes, with different tools, carry sharp objects, napkin and duster, how to fold the napkin, and then eventually they can fold their own clothes, their own socks, and the pants accordingly. Pouring, dry or wet pouring. Transferring objects or water. Try to apply it and let them exercise at home, because more exercises make perfect. They need to do a lot of activity like the tools, like chopsticks, the tweezer, whatever activity. Rolling mat. You can see the students, you observe them how precise that they look for. And then these are the guide training how to follow the line. And then eventually they can roll the mat in a perfect way. Snipping and cutting. Some of the parents or maybe grandparents will not allow them to carry scissors at home. We introduce, but with a round head, and then let them explore. They will feel like, wow, this is the best tools. And then they will start to exploring all these activities. The activities of social behavior, like greeting, which greet the students or the teachers, good morning, goodbye, excuse me, interrupting in a good manner. Can I help you? And open and close door quietly, put back things quietly, hands objects to others, especially the sharp objects, some knife, tools, tweezer, or scissors. How to sit and stand properly. They have their way, especially with the correct body posture. Waiting. They are. Parents, can you mute yourself? Okay. Well, the activities of exercise, the social behavior will be like waiting their turns. Today, we're working together with the students when they are playing with the trampoline, even though some of them are the first time coming to the school, but they understand, wait for their turns, count until 10. So these are the waiting turns. Table manner, serve their friends accordingly. And then care of self, how to do the grooming, washing their own hand. During pandemic, everybody need to practice washing hand frequently, blowing nose, brushing teeth, braiding, combing, dressing frame. Dressing frame is how to help themselves. Teach them how to help themselves. The zip, Velcro, button, press up, hook and eyes, or this buckling bow, or the bow tying, lacing. So they are learning all this accordingly. Of course, at the beginning, they might feel challenged, but with the clear steps, then we can guide them accordingly. Polishing, cleaning the socks, the foot preparation. You can view from our Facebook, some of the activity have already carried out, even though this is the beginning of the classroom. Beginning of the years as well. The food that they love to prepare. During pandemic, parents help, students also able to carry lots of activity, preparations of the food at home. And then at school, they help auntie to cut all the vegetables, they fry their eggs, and then they can help you at home to do all these things. Be patient, bear in mind, guide them accordingly, then they will be your future good helping hand. So care of the environment, care of surface, wipe the table, let them observe when necessary, then sweeping the floor, mopping, wringing the wet clothes. They have their own way. Not so challenged, but they are managed to do it. Care of the environment, washing clothes, dyeing clothes, folding clothes, washing the dish, keeping up all the dishes, wiping the wet dishes. Care of the plants and animals, watering plants, wiping leaf, or the dust from the leaf, then they can show their coordination, concentration, and their patience. Flower arrangement, feeding pets. So here are the wiping and scrubbing. They need to scrub the table if it's very dirty. So they can brush accordingly. And then care of pets. We do have hamster to the clips that's how you saw. Now we have clayfish, and then we have some fish. We are going to have another hamster again. Well, the advanced activity of practical life, like flower arrangement, they use scissors, they have all the skills will coordinate here. How details, how they observe accordingly, how they arrange the flower, how they admire the beauty of the nature. These are lots of the multiple skills that we are going to introduce to them. Origami. The student love to fold the paper. A paper can turn into a magic, like whatever hot dog, animals, frogs, and purse. So we guide them how to use the tools step by step, follow exactly. So all these steps for the beginner will turn to a concrete steps. We fold it accordingly, then they can see the paper. This is 2Ds, but we make it to 3Ds to guide the young learner at the first times. We introduce them to the origami. And then sewing. So they start from the very beginning, one by one, using the needles. And then eventually they can do the cross stitch. So these are some of the students' work. They can do it, even though it is boy. So we cannot differentiate like, boy, you no need to do sewing. But these are all the life skills, right? So involve them. These are all the patient. Can you see the cross stitch? And then how to make a picture. And then they have their own imagination and the creativity of their skills to achieve it accordingly. So, well, adult works is to finish a task, but the child works in order to grow and is working to create the adults, the person that is to be. So they want to grow. They don't have the purpose like finish whatever task that the adults expected. They have their own pace to follow their own inner needs. So this is the self-portrait of Sun Child. Any child who is self-sufficient, who can tie his shoes, dress or undress himself, reflects in his joy and sense of achievement the image of the human dignity, which is derived from a sense of independence. This is from Maria Montessori. We help them to be independent and work on their own. So this is all about the exercise of practical life. Would like to call up parents, just try your best to allow them to explore at home. When they stay at home, then you can prepare them in the future. Now we're going to explore to sensorial. This is the apparatus. These are the whole sets of the sensor and even mathematics are the we call it scientifically proof apparatus to lead them along the way. What is sensorial? Why it is so important? Parents, again, as we work together as a core partner. So some of the right up, maybe you feel like, well, why I should know this? Again, we work together and then we learn along the way. So Montessori sensorial materials serve the primary purpose of developing and refining the different senses. The material are designed to help the students experience, notice, and categorize the incoming sensorial information all around them. Students use the material to build their understanding of various sensory concepts and to develop the vocabulary needed to define the description of those phenomena, because they need to know, they need to sharpen their language. So all the sensorial they involve, they try to differentiate with the very, very good vocabulary in order to define and describe all the things for the phenomenon. So as with all the Montessori materials, students use the materials to build towards abstractions. Like this is the binomial and trinomial. We're guiding them to learn the algebra in future. But as a kindergarten level, they try to differentiate all this apparatus accordingly. Students scaffolds their learning with multiplicity of the material. So these are all the scientifically proved apparatus, and eventually move on to being able to use this concept in the most abstract and the creative way. These sensorial materials signify steps beyond the practical life materials used with the youngest learner, young early childhood students. So the whole classroom actually bring the whole world to the classroom to guide them accordingly. Whereas the primary is we bring them to the world. Now the kindergarten, we try our best to bring the whole world towards them and then differentiate, introduce to them accordingly. The visual sense of pink tower. This is a well-known Montessori material that you are seeing in many classrooms. The pink tower consists of 10 wooden cubes of steadily the pink tower increasing size. Students organize this block to create a tower from the largest at the base and to the smallest at the top. This material helps the students learn and refine their senses of size in three-dimensional space. Can you see that? This is the biggest and then this is the smallest. Then they build up accordingly, like a tower. As students use the tower more, they begin to realize that details that make the tower so interesting. In this way, students begin to think about the proportions and the inner growth. Even with these smaller cubes, we need 1,001 cm power of 3 cubes to build the largest. So they will also learn accordingly from this when they are young, and then when they turn 5 or 6 years old, they'll know how to do the compare and contrast with the extension of pink tower. The brown stairs, also known as broad stairs. The brown stairs are composed of rectangular prisms, 20 centimeter longs, of steadily increasing the size accordingly. These stairs are used to develop the concept of thickness, from thick to broad. Similarly to the pink tower, they are used by arranging them in ascending size. This time is to create a staircase. It's not a tower, right? So just like a pink tower, each step is exactly 1 unit, a centimeter in this case, taller than the last. The distinction helps lead the students towards concepts like units, measurements, proportions, and other geometries fundamentals. The red rods, you can see it, and then you connect to the number rods. Red rods Montessori, continuing the exploration of size difference. The red rods are used preliminary to learn about the concept of length. The sets of red rods consist of 10 individual rocks, ranging consistently in size from 10 cm to 100 cm. We talk about the social distancing, 1 meter social distancing. So they can measure and feel, while the longest long rods will be 1 meter. So they experience, they visualize. Students work with these materials in many ways, including arranging them to the proper order and using more than one set to match rods at the same size, same length. So it will also involve and coordinate with the number rods. The knobless cylinder, the knob cylinder. The knob cylinder are comprised of 4 different sets of the cylinders. Montessori knob cylinders, wooden block, topped with the knob. So this knob actually indirectly help them to do the pincer gripping and for easy handling. with the appropriate casings for each and every set. So very young, the first apparatus that we're going to introduce them all most of the time. Each set consists of 10 cylinder blocks with variety of sizes. Each sets varieties in their own way. Those one sets varieties in diameter and height, one in diameter only, and one in height only. So all this last decrease in height while increasing in diameter using one or multiple sets of cylinders help the students to discern the different sizes. So, and the different way to measure the objects. These cylinders help the students to move beyond biggest and smallest to more precise words when they are helping, when also helping their all this as they move to replace with the different cylinder. So their vocabulary will be more rich when they're presenting something or want to describe something. The knotless cylinder. See, this is a lovely cylinder sets to do the compare and contrast, to build and to do the extension, how to do the comparison with the knob cylinder. So the knotless is without knob. This knobless cylinder shares some obvious similarities with the knob cylinders. There are 4 sets of knob cylinder with 10 cylinders of various of size in each set. The yellow set is decreasing in height and diameter, and the red set is decreasing only in diameters. The blue set is decreasing in height, but keep a constant diameter. And the green set is decreasing in height, while increasing in diameter. So each and every sets are different. By organizing these cylinders in ascending and the decreasing order, students grasp the various of different elements that make up the size and for an objects, while building their concentration and all these senses as well. These are the color tablets. We start from the 3 primary colors and go to the color box 2 with 11 colors. And then here will be the color box 3 with 9 colors, but start from the darkest to the lightest. So they do the compare and contrast accordingly. Each box of color tablets contain a set of the tablets representing a guardians of the certain colors. For instance, one box may have a set of tablets ranging of the Montessori colors tablets in light blue to dark blue. So another may have the light green to dark green. So these are the box trees. By arranging these tablets in the proper order, children develop their visual discriminations with the regards to colors, varieties, all kinds of colors. And the geometric cabinets to lead them to understand the different size, and then with the concrete, with the thick line and the thin line. So they will do the apparatus accordingly. The geometric cabinets consist of 6 drawers. Each and every drawers have different shapes with the wooden geometrical figures set. Each drawers contain a different types of geometries with wooden tiles that all these shapes. Students learn the name and the characteristics of these shapes and work on removing and replacing all these shapes in their proper spots in the frame. These shapes can be used for the numbers of activities as the students grow, and they often trace onto paper for the further exploration. So they will be very busy to work with this apparatus accordingly. So one of the sensorial apparatus. So this is the geometric solids. Understand what are the name again. The geometric solids, sometimes known as the geometric figures, bridging the gaps between visuals, materials, and tactiles. The geometric solids consist of 10 3-dimensional wooden geometric shapes block. These blocks can be used for numbers of activities. In their basic application, students use them to learn the characteristics of 3-dimensional geometric shapes. So they know, they analyze what are the shapes from the reality, and use all this the 2D pictures. So these are one of the apparatus they love to use it daily. Touch tablets are used for students to explore the feeling of smooth and rough. Sections of sandpaper, letter of variety of all these are, let them have this wooden textile in order for them to differentiate the smooth and rough. So they can feel each and every tiles to help them to match the tiles of the same, all these feelings, and arranging the tiles from the rough to smooth. Thermic tablets is another one that, wow, they can really feel that. Tiles or tablets or different materials are used to show the difference in all this in heat conducting among the different types of the material. In this way, students not only learn to discern between the different temperature by touching, but also learn about the conductivity and the characteristics of different materials. They can learn along the way. Barrett tablets consist of sets of tablets. Each variety varies in weight and the 10 grams. Students buy 10 grams. Each and every thing at the different 10 grams. Students lift and compare each tablet, arranging them from the lightest to the heaviest. Students learn the internalize the vocabulary necessary to show which tablets are more heavy and which are lighter. Then how to compare in different ways. So they use this one with their fingers, and they feel it. Smelling jug. The olfactory sense is also internalized development from the young age in the Montessori classroom. Students use the small bottle or jug filled with the sense cotton balls and to compare different smells and match the jug to have the same sense. They fill it with the we call it like curry leaf, pandan leaf, or some of the scents that we want them to know and how to differentiate accordingly. Sound box is to help the students become more aware of the intensity of sounds. Montessori designed a set of 6-cylinder shaped brown wooden box with the red top. Here's the box one. Each box contains a small amount of different substance such as salt, rice, or dry beets. The sounds produced when the child shakes the box varies in intensity from the soft to loud. These sets of boxes corresponds to a second set with the blue tops. Each box in the first set have the mate in the second set that produce a similar sounds. The students must find in pairs by listening and then graded the box from the loudest to the softest. So these are the things to sharpen their hearing sense. And then the extension of this will be the Montessori belts. Binomial and trinomial, just like what we introduced you before. In this early stage, the purpose of materials is less focused on the complex mathematical behind the material. Just like what I tell you, this is a preparation for the algebra, but we less focus on the complex mathematics, but rather is to provide a challenge for a child's ability to find patterns and the relationship between the blocks. What are the patterns? What are the same? What are the differences? Due to this purpose, the binomial and trinomial cubes fall into the sensorial curriculum's area. This material is all the more complex mathematics concepts, including fractions and algebra. If your child continues to learn using this Montessori philosophy, the binomial cubes is used the primary years to understand and experience the algebra concept. So they experience this when they was young, when they have the very sensitive of the sensorial perception. Now we go to the constructive triangles. Each and every shapes can construct the triangles. The materials of constructive triangles help the child consolidate into his conscious understanding of shapes, size, and the colors to help them to realize that the triangle has the roles of the constructors, divisor, and the consequence. The child first needs to be aware of shapes and size and familiar with the names presented in the 3 period lessons, accompanying the geometric cabinets, so that they can verbally express their idea. What are the hexagon box, the triangles, the parallelograms, whatever triangles that they learn accordingly. So I believe that parents from last year, you also join these lessons, and then you can learn and explore accordingly. Tessellation. This is the one that tessellate, meaning no gap. So the varieties, whatever shapes that they learn, and then they use it accordingly. So this will be the tessellations for the apparatus in the sensorial. So here, this is my presentation of the practical life and sensorial. So right now we open for Q&A if you have any question to know more, and then I'm here to answer your questions. Any of you would like to know more about sensorial and practical life? Hi, teachers, parents, do you have any questions to ask? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Tracy.
Hi, I think no for now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How about the rest? Will you try to apply the Montessori, some practical life at home, or you feel any difficulties, or you rather not, or you have any question or to clear your doubt? I'm so sorry, during pandemic, everything need to turn to the virtual, so it's very difficult to get connection here. Well, one of the parents was asking, do students only do whatever apparatus that they choose? Of course, no. We tailor-made of their each and every student's level, but this is just the beginning of the class. This is the 3rd week. So we will observe accordingly, know their strengths, know their interests, and know their abilities. So teachers will have their individual guide and coach them accordingly with 5 areas, 9 subjects. They not only do whatever they choose at school, but they need to explore, like especially 5 and 6 years old, they need to explore to various of the apparatus in the classroom, the 5 areas, if possible, daily, or a few subjects, including mathematics. So no, they not only do that one. Any other questions?
Yeah, Miss Sophie, this is Trisha, Vision Mummy. I just wanted to know, so like, let's say the children will pick one of the material, the apparatus. So once they pick the apparatus, the teacher will go and guide them. Eventually, the teacher will go and guide them, or they will just go and explore by themselves. Like how, if let's say like teacher, because I believe all the teachers are busy with maybe some the other children. So when the children exploring, will teacher really will teach them and guide them what is this apparatus called, how this apparatus works, or how it goes.
Yeah, basically for the beginning, because right now is the third week of the school, so teachers will let them explore to exercise of practical life and sensorial. So all this actually, the whole sense of the Montessori apparatus actually is the the control of the error. The apparatus itself contain the control of the error. So if they misput it accordingly, students will know they make a mistake, like they pour out the water. So at this moment, teachers, of course, at the moment we have 2 or 3 teachers, serve them accordingly. Teachers might be busy with especially some of the young students and new students, but eventually teachers will coach them accordingly, like how to do the mathematics with the golden beads, how to apply the rest of the advanced Montessori apparatus in sensorial, in languages, especially when we go do the grammar analytical, whatever advanced apparatus. Teachers will guide them accordingly. But beginning of the year, I mean, we can say that they will explore. If they misbehave, teachers will also guide them accordingly. They not only do on their own, they will get the way to explore in the proper way. And then I don't know whether you observe some of our senior students, especially this year, we have 7-year-old students, they play a very important role. They like to be core teachers, the assistant teachers to help us. Of course, this is also indirectly built their leaderships, but teachers will guide them and then follow, observe them accordingly, whether they are guiding the young students in the proper way. Thanks for your doubt and then your clarification. Any things from your mind, because I believe that some of the parents you have doubts to be clarified. Well, of course, the majority of the apparatus are individual. When they do the bank games, we'll have 3 to 4 students, and then when they sing along the way, they have the they sing along, like beginning of the class 8 to 8:30. Some of the daily plan will according to the students' needs. So we have the individual group, we have the small group, like language part. We have 4, 5, 6 years old based on their abilities. So for this different age group, they have their different levels. So languages, mathematics were divided to a small groups, but we also went to the big groups, like the playground, how to take turns, then how to like what you say, how can they encourage to communicate and the social with other students, with emphasis on the social skill, like when they go to the playground, when they're lining up, when they sitting together to sing along and read aloud. And then we also offer some of the introduction of the rules and regulation daily to really consolidate their basic skill. So of course, at the moment, they're more on the individual base, but all this divided to different activity: individual, small group, and the large group. So they can explore accordingly. So this will be also a society, how the society form. They have their pace, we respect their pace, but eventually how they work with the small groups of the students, and then eventually they work together, especially go to the playground and sing along, read aloud, reading the storybooks. These definitely will be the big group. So how they're sitting down to listen to the stories, how they raise their hand, this is a part of their socialization skill and the communication skills built.
Hi, Sophie。
Thank you。
我是心怡的妈咪啊。
是。
我想问一下，我的心怡在学校情况怎样？因为我每次在他放学，我都问他你在学校做什么？我不知道，我不知道。然后他就跟我讲他骂东西了，这样子了。我觉得他好像 confused 在那边上课这样啊，他不懂他自己在做什么这样的。
OK。不同的小朋友有很多不同的一个 feedback。 如果你可以你可以 trace 我们一些 Facebook 一些家长们允许 share 的一些照片，其实小朋友他不知道怎样回答你要的答案，他在教室里面他很忙，譬如他知道他的责任，他要把东西放好，他其实在学校3-4个钟头，他一定会做很多东西，他如果待在那边他发愣或者是观察，其实都是有助于他学习跟分析怎么讲出来。所以在整个过程里面，你可以用一些照片，哎，你有做过这个吗？你喜欢做什么？或者是我在想，老师也会偶尔传一些他们 individual，especially 新生的照片给家长看。那他喜欢什么？可能1-2个，在这些活动里面，譬如他的语文到哪里？因为不久之后他们会带一些功课回去，然后也会带一些读本回去，所以给他一点点时间，因为毕竟这只是开学的第3周，他还是要做一些读写算，然后一些手眼协调，尤其是让他的专注力非常的巩固的一些基础功。所以妈妈可以去从我们的照片里面去引导他，让他知道说，哎，你怎么样跟你怎么样去让你们2个 being connected， 就是你们有联系。
是哦，因为老师没有 send 过照片给我，所以我不懂怎样跟他讲啊。他也不懂怎样跟我讲，我也不懂怎样跟他讲。
好，
所以老师麻烦 send 点照片给我。
可以的，我们尽量就尽量。然后有一些，即使是你女儿不是在这个照片，不是女主角，你也可以从我们的，因为整个教室是有几百样的教具，可是小朋友都可以从不同的教具里面，他因为他有机会去学，所以你可以问他，哎，你这个教具你用过了没？你怎么用的？然后你怎么收拾？你喜欢这个教具，或者是你问他三几样教具，哎，你喜欢哪一个教具？你每天进去做什么教具？
可以哦，我应该要尝试这样子问他，因为他也不懂表达，我也不懂怎样帮助他表达。
我觉得在整个过程里面，他们是会去 construct 他的语言，因为蒙特梭利的环境，它有很丰富的语言，让孩子们可以去把他的语言丰富化。所以他刚进来，他可能不晓得怎么去把一些描述讲得非常的清晰，然后让家长知道说，哎，我到底在学什么。所以你可以用我们 Facebook 的一些照片，他即使是他不识做的人，可是他都有机会去碰触这些所有的教具。
OK， 谢谢你，
加油加油。
是哦，谢谢。
Okay, sorry. When the child's working, all teachers keep quiet, afraid to ask. Okay. Well, different students have different characters. We will observe and then encourage them to ask and seek for help. So when the children working, all teachers will, because apparatus itself has already had the control of the error. We have the triangle. Students have the inner needs to perfect themselves. Teachers are the one who prepare the environment and understand the child's abilities, personality. And the prepared environment is prepared by the teachers to help the students to sharpen their skill by using all these educational tools. So once teachers notify the child's mistake, if they found it, we will step back and observe whether the child can rectify this mistake or not. If they didn't seek for help, we will observe. Whether they are afraid, then we will we'll encourage them to sound out. But when they are still in the midst of figure out how to solve their own problem, we will keep observe. I think, I don't know how is your childhood grow or how you grow to learn something. If you can find a mistake by yourself, differentiate and then identity the mistakes, then you will feel very confident and satisfied. But if you in the midst of figure out and want to solve the problem, but the adults interferes accordingly, you maybe your inner part you'll feel okay, everything will depend on the adult. But I don't start to analyze how to solve my own problem. So teachers will not always attend to the child, but if they seek for the assistant, definitely the teachers will be there. When they seek for the assistant, or we realize that they're afraid to help, we will offer the help to them. Okay, got it? Any more questions from Anne? If not, then I answer like Hun. At what age that they will hold the pencil to write properly? When they know how to grab their 5 motor skill, like students, you observe at the beginning, they use the 5 fingers to grab everything. They grab even though 2 hands. So slowly they can sharpen their skill, like using the tools, chopsticks, scissors, tweezer, or some of the dipper. So accordingly. So we cannot say it at what age, but 3 to 4 or maybe 4 plus, they will hold a pencil to write properly. But this one need a lot of practice, especially sensorial and practical life practice, to lead them how to prepare themselves, especially the hidden part like concentration span, the coordination, how they hold the pencil accordingly, how to grip the pencil, and then how they control their muscle to write in the small box or the few lines. So actually, concentration span, coordination, pencil gripping, fine motor skill, hand-eye coordination are all the foundation in order for them to be able to write properly. It will take some time, but when they are ready, teachers will ask them to do all the apparatus accordingly. Yes, Elaine. Montessori, the criteria, one of the essential criteria of Montessori is 3 to 6. This year is because our government have the special arrangement, so we allowed the 7 years old students to stay with us for only 3 months. After 3 months, some of them, they will proceed to the primary one. So this mixed ages classroom from 3 to 6, or maybe some of the students with the well toilet trained from 2.5 to 6. So we are not pacing them with the peers with the same age. So I think this is the evolutions of education since all the evolutions from the industrial revolutions. So now humans are, I mean, at that time, our government wants to easily manage the people, like if you born in this year, so I just make you that everybody stay on the standards 1. So and then you go to standard 2. But even though in the standard 1, they have the beginning month or year end, like December child or the January child. Each and every students are different. So in the Montessori environment, we allow the students to work on their own pace, but they have the chance to observe the rest of the students, how they observe, how they work together in this environment. So this mixed ages classroom is like a community. The person, even though they have the 3 years old, but they are very sharp in the sensorial, they can differentiate sounds, they can differentiate various of colors, then they will do it very good. And even though some of the 5 years old, if they come in recently or 6 years old, this is their first Montessori classroom, they might not be able to differentiate the binomial and trinomial or the constructive triangle. But some of the 2.5 years old students, since young, they're already involved with all these apparatus. They are the master of the classroom. So here are the society for them to help each and everybody. In the normal or the reality, like your colleagues, our relative, and when I was young, when I worked with my gogo jeje or my younger sisters, we are not in the we call it if you differentiate in the vertical age group or horizontal age group. So we are all in the daily life is a vertical age group, right? From 3 to 6, or maybe more ages are involved. But the horizontal age group is all these things they need to the vertical age group, and the differences will be like each and every, if it's the same students are placing with the same age. So Montessori not practice in this way. We practice in the mixed ages, in a different age group, in order to build a society and then let them work together. Is it clear? Yeah, and then from the peer learning, they won't feel so stressed, because like even teachers, like the authorities, if there's some of the works every time come from the teachers, they'll feel like, oh, this is the teachers tell you, everything have to listen to the teachers. But the inner child will lead them to perfect themselves. So if they're happy to work with the little Coco and Tete, then they will feel very happy. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we call this special method of the alphabet is phonic sound. Teachers will send you the link of the ants on the apple or Abu Ada Ayam for Bahasa and Mandarin. You can apply it to the your eldest daughter, so you can work together with them. So teachers will send you the link as well. If you can get it, and then you can always ask from the teachers the phonics link. They can practice from home. Like ants on the apple, balls are bouncing, caterpillars are coughing. So these are some of the tools you can practice, and then you can do a lots of revision at home. From my observation, 3 years old students really learn better from the eldest peers, because they love to work with peers. What kind of chart is that? You mean the ants on the apple baby are napping? What is it another one? Because what I mentioned is this one. Is it clear? To use the link to practice accordingly, if I can clear your doubt. Any more teachers? Any more questions from parents? Sorry. It is clear. Okay. Thank you. Then you can practice accordingly. Montessori environments is like a little society for them to explore in a prepared environment, and then work on their own pace, and then respect their way to solve their own problems. Of course, parents, you will find that, well, you have the better way to solve, but when they are in the midst of solving their own problem, try to step back and observe accordingly. They will learn and then gradually increase and improve their skills accordingly. Don't worry, no hurry. Observe and accompany them along the learning path, and then they will really appreciate you. I mean, now they are only like below 6 years old, but I believe that in the whole path of life, they actually has the way how to work it perfectly. They have their inner core to perfect themselves. So don't worry. Not every time that parents or the teachers need to step up. But of course, if they found that well, they're not confident, they are afraid, then we will know all these things. In the classroom. Well, very beginning. In the classroom, of course, there were some of the negative behavior, especially when the new students come or the old students are there. So we will have our observation chair. If the students have their misbehavior, we will let them sit on the quiet area to observe, and then to think. We call it thinking chair and observation chair, to think what they should do. Why other people follow the rules and then respecting all the students, teachers work in the environment. So we will put them and let them think and observe other students. Bullying, it means majority of the students, they know that bullying, it shouldn't happen in the classroom. So they found that they will need to reflect themselves in the classroom. And then for this thinking chair or observation chair, we apply to a timeout solutions, which means that 3 years old, we accompany them to sit there for 3 minutes, or 6 years old, maximum 6 minutes. Once they realize, we'll ask them, what do you think? How do you reflect? What do you learn? So this is a thinking chair or observation chair that we handle those negative or misbehavior in the classroom. Because all sorts of the, how to say, all sorts of the verbally abuse or physical abuse are not think. They show the rules in the classroom. Is it clear? Mummy? Thank you. Any other questions to enter a Montessori classroom? Any doubt to clear? You may find maybe we have some terms that you think of, you no need to understand, but I always believe that as a parents, we work together to build the child within these 3 years, for below 6 years old. Because again, I would like to emphasize, 6 years old students, they are really, their brains can develop to 90% of adult brain. They reserve a powerful brains to learn, to understand the real life. So bear in mind and then interact with them, talk to them. Even though we don't have a lot of the homework at home, especially for the youngest. Only homework will only apply to 5 and 6 years old, but read aloud with them, especially with the storybooks. Try to reduce the TV time within half an hour or maybe 20 minutes per day. I know that this is very challenging and very difficult, but students reserve the rights to understand how to connect to the real world, but not a virtual world. So I think pandemic pulled them again back to the virtual world. Explore them to the nature, explore them to whatever that you can interact with them, with human. So here are some of the tips to work together with the child at this moment. Any more questions from parents? No, they are not 面壁思过. They observe the whole child. I let them face the whole classroom. I let them face I let them observe how other students work, how they connect, how they put back things to the original place, how they work properly, how they tuck in the chair, how they roll the mat. They are not facing the wall, but they are facing to the society, how they work together. Yeah. But some of the students, they need to be very firm with them. And then, of course, I believe one of the points that I would like to emphasize is, even though we respect them, we follow their pace, but certain rules we have to set a very clear boundary for them to understand, for them to know, well, no, meaning no means knows that you cannot beyond this boundary. Put back things to the original place, walking feet indoor, voice. These are very simple, because in order for you to respect others. So when you go outside, then you can, of course, you can run. But inside the classroom, if you run, can you imagine how dangerous it is? So here are some of the tips that you need to guide the child. You need to set the clear boundary, the clear expectation, to let them know what you should do, especially working independently. eat by themselves, put the clothes by themselves, put on shoes, socks, everything by themselves. Of course, it will take a while or maybe quite a while to master the skills, but eventually they can do it. But then they will feel that they are independent. They will know how to handle themselves and work, and then work with all these life skills accordingly. The Montessori approach we call is a life aids to life. Along the way, we need to really guide them along the way how to handle themselves to be an individual person, man in future. Any other questions? If not, we call it a day. Then welcome to join next section to understand more about mathematics, because mathematics are very, very important. In order to have the mathematical mind, everybody should have the mathematical mind. So Montessori apparatus in mathematics, actually, again, this is a scientifically proved apparatus to lead them understand the abstract numbers by using all the concrete apparatus. And then eventually, once they master all these concrete apparatus, will lead them to another world, the world of maths, the abstract thing, and then also analyze their minds as well. Okay, teachers, parents and teachers, anything else? If not, then we call it a day. Okay, bye-bye.